If you go north of Las Vegas, you'll wind up at Area 51. We'll go past that for several hours and you'll wind up in the Black Rock Desert. That's where they hold the Burning Man Festival, and there's a big challenge when it comes to tying knots. Now in the Black Rock Desert, you'll find playa dust. It's very fine, it's almost like cement, and it wreaks havoc on everything. Electronics, rope, skin, all kinds of stuff. So this video is for Stever, who asked about tying a better knot when his paracord is contaminated with playa dust. Here's something you don't see very often. This is the tried and true tumbling shedder. And this is where all the parts go after I've cut them before they end up in my shop. When this ceramic media breaks down, you get all this dust. And I hate this stuff. It gets everywhere, it gets on your clothes. But this is probably the closest stuff I have to playa dust. You can see how well it gets on you. But I don't think it's as alkaline in the dust at Burning Man. But I do have some of this stuff lying around, and if you look at the warning, it says right here, contact with dry material or wet mixtures may cause severe chemical burns to skin and eyes. Yep, sounds like Burning Man. Let's get one scoop of this moon dust here. One helping of tumbler dust. Mix well. He has a box that he ties together on the East Coast, and then he sends it over to the Black Rock Desert. He unties it, but then what happens is the cord gets contaminated with the moon dust, okay? And then when he tries to tie it again, it absolutely will not budge. It's almost like adding super glue or concrete to the knot. So let me show you. We'll pull this tight, get that lined up, make it look nice. Then we'll add our dust. This is the kind of knot he's been trying, but as he ships his equipment back to the East Coast, the prolonged heat and the alkaline nature of the dust causes everything to weld shut. And he's not able to use the cord again. He has to cut it apart. And you can see here I have trouble sliding this cord out. Oh, it doesn't want to budge. And this is just barely any time at all being exposed to this dust here. And I never really thought of that. I never give it any consideration. I took it for granted that when you tie a knot, you're just able to slide the cord back and forth with ease. But I guess I've never been to a zombie apocalyptic festival before. So here's the challenge. We need to create a system where we can use paracord where it doesn't slide on itself. It can secure the box, but we can also reuse it once it gets contaminated with dust. Here's my first attempt. You can see me grinding in the dust the best I could. I even added some heat to try to replicate the conditions that Stever has. Introduce the heat gun. Now, this knot, while it does hold, and it also pops apart, I thought that was pretty cool. The issue is it relies on a reef knot. And so while you can pull it apart, it's very difficult to tie because the cord does not slide once it's contaminated. Back to the drawing board. Take as much cord as you need to go around your box. I'm going to take the end and I'm going to tie something similar to an overhand knot. That's a single. We're going to do that 5 times. Going through once, twice, 3, and 4, and 5. Okay? Now I'm going to pull this straight. Make sure that it's nice and dressed as we do it. There we go. You guys can see the little barrel that we're creating. I'm going to use a couple marlin spikes to pull in the tension. There we go. Let's pull this nice and tight. And all that tension has made this knot real hard. Now what I want to do is make this the base of my loop. So I'm going to pull this together, and this is where I'm going to tie in a simple bowline. Twist that there. I'll go up through that rabbit hole, around the tree, and then back down. Okay. What we need to do is adjust this. You see how it's lopsided right now? We need to adjust this so it's nice and perpendicular with our standing end. This is what you want to see, and we're going to trim off this end. We got our example box, but listen to how hard this knot is. Now we need to find out where our closure needs to be installed. So I'm going to hold this right there in the center. I'll wrap it around one side, bring it over to the top. Let's cross it over, and we'll go around the box the other way. Okay. Now I'll thread this through. And we need to decide where we're going to wrap this up. Okay. I'm going to decide that it's going to be right on this edge, okay, on these 2 edges here. Now we're going to get our blue paracord. I'm going to need 2 lengths of this. We have our Hanka cord here. Now I could take the end and wrap it around and secure it under itself, but I'm going to show you something different. I'm going to tie it around once, twice, and 3 times. We'll pull this together. Watch how it coils up. Now with this knot, you can see we have 2 turns going across the front, 1 centered in the back. What I'm going to do is in between the 2 turns in the front, I'll separate those, revealing the 1 in the back. Okay. Now I'm going to take my ends and I'm going to run them right through those windows that I created. There we go. Now we'll pull this tight. What I've done is created a friction slide. I can pull the cord through and it holds based off of how tight I pulled this knot. And slide that together. Now doesn't that look nice? The reason I'm showing you this is because we're going to tie a version of that same knot to act as a closure for our box. I have my cord folded in half and I want it to stay nice and neat the entire time I'm tying it. So I'll just keep this straight. There we go. We'll pull this up and I'm going to keep the 2 cords right next to each other as I wrap around. There's once, there's twice, and then 3 times. I'll pull this tight and you can see the same knot is forming, it's just doubled up. We have our 2 strands in the back, we have our double strands in the front. That's what we're going to separate to capture those in the middle. Okay, and I'm going to take my cord, I'm going to run it through one side, up, around the back, and back to the other. There we go. Very similar to this knot, I'm just going up and back through. Now I'm going to line this up to the edge of my box. There we go, that's where I want it installed, and I'm going to pull it tight. And I'm going to use my marlin spikes again to pull in the tension. Now you just need 1 more of these toggles about 1 inch away. So this is it. This is the final setup. We got our stirrup looking thing here. And then down our cord, we have these 2 caterpillar looking things. Let's secure our box together. I'll take my cord, I'm gonna wrap it around one way, cross over, wrap it around the other way. Then I'm going to take my thread, run it through the stirrup here. Now remember, we can't slide. Normally I would just slide down on my loop. But since that's not an option, I'm going to take my little knot bar here. I'm going to push it forward. Okay, get those into place. I'll push it forward and then wrap it over. There we go. Okay. Now all that's left to do is to wrap through my toggles, just as if I were sending an inter-office memo. All right, let's get this nice and dusted up. Okay, and then when it's time to undo it, we'll go back through. That looks a little bit like Burning Man, doesn't it? Okay, let's hold this down, wrap it completely around, go across. Now I think we'll still be able to slide this since our bar is keeping the cord apart and it's not going to pinch together as we pull. It sounds like a violin string. Okay, now we're going to wrap through, underneath. There we go. And then this one I'm just going to bring all the way up and tuck it underneath. And I think that would be just fine to keep a box together. Wrap this thing. It's really strange not to slide a knot, but I guess if you really had to, this is what you can do. You know, with all this knot engineering, I got to thinking, why don't we just use a parahook? Now, this is one of my own designs. Let me show you how it works. Of course, it comes with cord. We'll fold our cord in half and we'll thread it through the eye. Now, this tolerance is just right for this paracord. We'll run it through and it'll hold just fine. Okay? Now check this out. I'll run it through one side and then I'm just going to hook it in. Okay? Let's get that centered. I'll run it through the other side and then we're going to hook it in again. Okay? But the special thing about this hook is we can go around this ear, back through the tail, and then pull it tight. You see how it locks down on itself? There we go. If we wanted to, we could run this through, try to make a quick release, but we'll just go back through the other way and pull it free. There we go. This is actually the new and improved version. You can see the old version is just a little bit smaller, and then the ears are slightly modified so that they let go of the cord as you're doing a drop release. We'll take a bite from our hook, go through our handle, then we're going to go over our standing end, and then this is what's going to go through and then over our ears. Okay, there we go. We're locked in there. See, as we drop down, we're going to unhook and it's going to release everything. If you'd like to support my channel, you can visit my shop at awesomeforsale.com, and any order that comes in for this next week, I will send you a free parahook with 10 feet of cord. Now, if you've already placed an order and you're thinking, man, I should have just waited, as long as you ordered within the month of November, just send Jerry an email and we'll ship you one out for free.